Hello, it is I, Saku NA, and we're here to play the Halos, the modded
First
Halos.
squad, you're my scouts. Move out.
Exciting,
Quiet as you
I
can.
suppose. So we've got a bunch of ODSTs we've added to this level, along with Marines we've added to this level. We've got a good variety of guns. Most have assault rifles, but some have, the suppressed submachine gun. Some have battle rifle. Most important thing, really, as far as these guys go in this
Bravo
sequence, is that you
team,
can
this is
tell the
Johnson.
scale
Go.
has been upgraded.
Fall back to the
There
extraction
are
point.
just
Over.
so many friendlies now.
Roger that.
It's
Reynolds
kind of
out.
magical. So many friendlies, and they all do follow. It just they take a while because of the way their animations work. But they all do follow you. And Johnson, which is fun. And they'll keep following you throughout the whole level, of course, just like in vanilla.
That sounded close.
Yeah, too close.
We've got our 60-shot assault rifle, which is fun. No zoom on it.
Johnson, you be advised.
We've got our suppressed submachine gun, but it does have a zoom on it, and this is
I've got
kind
eyes
of
on a bridge. Over.
my
Say
in-between. I
again,
would
Gunner. You're
say,
breaking up.
like, both of these guns are pretty decent at medium range. The assault rifle does okay damage in this mod. It does pretty good damage, but it's just kind of the all-around gun. It's not the best up close. That's probably dual-wielding SMGs or another dual-wield combo, or even just the regular SMG
Second squad,
super
you're with
close.
me.
It's not the best at medium range for bursting enemies. That's probably the suppressed submachine gun, as far as autos go, right? Or another gun, maybe the Spiker, right? Solo Spiker. Because solo and dual wield have very different properties in this mod. The assault rifle is just kind of the gun that you will find the most ammo for, and is good in most situations, which I like. I think that's a fine place for this gun to be in. Got a brute. He has a carbine now instead of a brute shot, because I think that throwing a brute shot at the player this early is a little rough. The part comes right after this. The suppressed submachine gun does have recoil, so you do kind of want to burst it. There's the new assault rifle sound, which is kind of a placeholder right now, but I think it's effective enough. There's the new plasma and frag grenade sounds. You can hear those, which I think are pretty good too. Just a bit more of a bass kind of sound behind it. Alright, you should really pick up plasma grenades from those guys, but assuming you as a player did not, you can still throw a frag grenade and do a decent amount of damage to these guys. You can see we can de-shield brutes here, we can get stuck on a rock. That's retained. Alright, so we can de-shield these brutes, and we have these berserking brutes. They're a lot more aggressive. They're a lot more scary. Don't want to hit a friendly trooper there, unfortunately, but I did. Get another bubble shield down for the friendlies. Try to kind of keep them alive here. Alright, Phantom's still shooting at us from back there. So we probably have lost some soldiers here. We have another bubble shield, that's nice. I definitely wanted to kind of give you more opportunities to use equipment in this mod in general, so you'll see a lot more equipment usage even from lower ranked brutes, which I think is fun. Alright, so we've got through that. We can hold 3 grenades maximum of each grenade type currently. That might change to 4 at some point. I'm not sure yet. Still debating on that. Actually, all of our troopers might have lived, which is kind of crazy. Here's the new Spiker, which is pretty fun. Shoots much slower. The flyby and fire sounds have kind of been boosted up. And for the first few shots, it's actually quite accurate in terms of what you'd expect out of a gun like that. So there is some kind of new usage that you can get out of these single-wield guns, which I like. I think that's fun. Gonna push up here. Somehow all of our troopers have survived. There's a few grunts that are kind of straggling, kind of hanging out back there. For some reason they didn't join the main attack there. I can just mess with their perception a bit. That's not too hard to do. We got all these friendlies. The first fight shouldn't be too difficult. The only times that the first fight gets pretty difficult is when that first captain with a brute shot starts shooting up there. I've almost considered removing it, if only just to kind of have it so the first fight isn't too hard, and it's just kind of easing you into the better AI, the longer engagement ranges, all of that stuff. And flip side is, well, it's the first time we run into some more brute shot. So I don't know. Still debating on that one. I have not removed the Cortana stuff yet. I plan to remove the slow, do some other stuff. Oh, removing a slow takes 2 seconds. I'm aware. Didn't do it today. I did 50 other things today instead. So yeah, this is the scene where it's like, oh hey, neither of your guns are super adept at dealing with jackals with carbines. So maybe pick up a carbine and do something with that. That's kind of the scene. I'll throw another bubble shield to save our buddies here. And you can see just a whole ton of grunts retreating, which I think is fun. Just establishing, just like in my other mod, or Reach, Prometheus. It's establishing just, man, the Covenant just have tons of grunts to just throw away at these engagements. You can tell grenades do a little bit more damage. It's not that they do more damage exactly. The better way of phrasing it is that their explosion radius, especially the frag grenades explosion radius, is longer. The grenades with more utility, like the ability to stick or ricochet, they haven't had it increase as much, but the frag grenade in particular is often pretty buffed in these mods in terms of explosion and kind of shrapnel radius to behave a bit more like how an actual grenade works. Where you can take damage far beyond what you would expect from the visuals, because shrapnel is just flying everywhere. I've of course increased the visuals too, though, to the largest explosions that Halo has available that still function with the grenade, so, you know, taking gameplay into consideration, obviously, and yeah, you can use the submachine gun at this range, it's just not as effective as the carbine. This section is definitely rough. It's the first section we will probably see some friendly troopers die. Even on the easier difficulties, you know, but they'll kind of hang back until you really push up. They'll kind of go into these lower firing positions and kind of chill until you figure out a way, as the chief, you know, of course, to push up and deal with this kind of bunker of enemies. These guys have a lot of trouble jumping up to that firing position that I want them to go up to, so I gotta keep messing with that. But, yeah. I do want them there, though, because if you want to keep using the carbine and you've run up to here, I don't want the player to have to backtrack all the way back. I want the player to be able to be like, oh, I can just grab some carbine ammo dynamically from the enemies that are here. Really clutch of plasma grenades here. We are very close to death. Hopefully a rock will not kill us. Okay, didn't get stuck on the rock that time. At least not for too long. I'm going to use a suppressed submachine gun because it's very good at this range at just doing a lot of damage in quick bursts. Helping to kind of pick off some of the grunts and kind of mess up the grenade throws. Whoa! That was close. More grenades in there. And yeah, this is the first time that I really want the player to really start going like, okay, this is the grenade hallway from Halo CE. We're right up this ridge. It's the only way to really get up without doing some jump shenanigans, right? It's where all your troopers are going, too. And so, you are heavily encouraged to move up this way, and then you run into a bunch of enemies that can throw grenades. And it's like, okay, cool. Now, we're in this situation. And I'm learning how useful grenades can be. I think that's fun. I think that's fun enough.
But I can't raise Bravo. You find him, get him to the extraction point.
Collecting as many grenades as we can find. As we push on, our party is slowly being reduced, unfortunately, but hey, you know, it's a kind of dynamic element of this level, even in vanilla. So this section kind of introduces that enemies can run away. I guess technically the last section introduced that, but I always kind of like that, that any enemies that you kind of spawn in here, they have the kind of AI to run back to these firing positions and hold up here. And if the last section did not become a grenade fest, this one definitely will. And obviously, I will kind of push the game a little bit further away from that identity soon. But I like the idea of just 1 or 2 sections early on, like, okay, grenades. The thing that kind of makes us a bit different is that now we have these kind of jackals that move up, and they try to hold in front of their allies here. It's gonna kill me? No, not quite. We probably will lose all of our troopers here this time, unfortunately. I've actually gotten troopers all the way to the end of the level here, but we've used our grenades a bit too wildly before we get to this part, and so we're a bit lower. That's a thing, unfortunately. You can see the assault rifle's not quite as good at the submachine gun at dishing out that kind of accurate damage at medium range, but it's consistent and you'll probably always have ammo for it, so it's kind of why you want to use it. Battle rifle's pretty much unchanged currently. It still fits the role that I want it to have, for the most part. Alright, switching back to the AR. Lots of bodies. Very unfortunate that we lost our troopers there, but it's okay. We could keep using our suppressed submachine gun, but at this point, it's probably honestly prudent. We really should have done this in the last scene to get more BR ammo, but there's so many battle rifles in this little sequence up here. I almost want to hide a sniper rifle in this section, but I mean, the flip side of that is that then it kind of diminishes the later hidden sniper rifle at the Crash Pelican. So maybe not. You'll see again lots of dropping of bubble shields now on this first level, just to kind of reinforce that that is a thing that the enemies can do. It's a pretty common armor ability on this level now. It's gonna hurt. Ooh. This guy's always kind of a jerk. And he's dead now. Alright. I think that that turret may have... Oh, there it is. I'm pretty sure we still had this turret somewhere. It just got moved by explosions. Turrets can throw grenades at much longer ranges, which is fun. I am HO. Hello. Now you could kind of see the impulse from that plasma grenade was pretty strong, which is good. Kind of tried to push up each grenade's identity so that they're each good at specific things, or at least stronger than they originally were at specific things, that they otherwise would not be. Kind of just push their identities, I guess, a bit into stronger niche kind of roles, where it's like, okay, well, every grenade is going to blow up and do things, but this one does this really well, this one does this really well. Just kind of how they already are designed, but pushing those elements, pushing those identities, right? Alright. We softened them up a little bit. Now the grunts are going to start to retreat from the casualties. Obviously that Brute Chieftain with the Brute Shot's the biggest threat here. What a throw. Alright. I'll say I almost want to put a trip mine right here, because a lot of enemies come around the corner afterwards, and I took, well, that's what the frag grenades are for. And it's like, yeah, but we've already had so many grenade kind of learn to use the grenade sequences in this level already. So I think that actually, honestly, having a trip mine there could be kind of cute. Because you go right around the corner, there's a whole ton of enemies, you throw a trip mine, it blows them all up, and you're like, okay, now I know what that does. You can obviously use the brute shot in this section too. You notice that beam rifle did not instantly kill us, which is really nice. We just have so much health now that doesn't really happen anymore, which is good. Player probably shouldn't die from something that quickly. In general, regardless of whether it's lore accurate or whatever, it's just not particularly fun for gameplay.
Hurry! Back into the jungle.
One thing I have considered too is if I can finagle Halo 3 to allow it, I want that section to actually have banshees that are kind of constantly strafing you. So overall, there'll probably be less enemies in that previous section, but there'll be more banshees going around and strafing you, which I think could be cool, just visually, you know. Be interesting. And kind of create a unique situation with some of those little smaller structures, where you're utilizing them to take cover from above, but you're also getting grenades thrown at you from the grunts and roots in the sequence. So I think there's some potential there for some interesting gameplay.
Well done. It is taken care of.
Again, you can use the assault rifle at that range, it's just not particularly efficient. So I don't super recommend it. Just one of those things where it's like, well, you can use this gun in this scenario. Which I think is a fine place for that gun to be in.
Come on, you dumb apes!
These guys are, of course, ODSTs, retreating, using some of the more ODST-centric weapons. You know, notice there's some new enemies in this section now. There are drones! Good old drones. Sounds like the Arbiter is fighting someone down there, but we have to deal with these grunts. I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead. Wow, I'm not dead. That's really nice. Needlers do still kind of stop you from regenerating a little bit, which is kind of a cool part of their identity. It's a little bit frustrating, but it's a cool part of their identity. Again, Brute's using cover a little bit more effectively. And we've got these drones, which do fly around in this section, which is fun. You could kind of see them flying around earlier, but they do have pathing. They fly around in this section. This guy's being a jerk. There we go. Ooh, that was a really good bubble shield, Brute. Didn't save him from the Arbiter's sword, but, you know, it's a thought that counts. Okay. There we go. Really just wanted to pick up this brute shot. No, we still have a round in this one? Cool. There's more than 0% charge left here. There we go. In this section, there are quite a few enemies compared to the original. Jackals tending to take the high ground up here, which is fun. That's the new Spiker, which is quite scary. We might be dead. Okay. It was close. We could have just switched to our other gun, but I do want to use the brute shot just for a bit, just for some variety here. With whatever that is. Oh, there's the drone flying. And now the drone is not flying. Didn't quite body shot that one. What is fun about this section is that you can pick up the Needler and go like, oh, that's a pretty good gun against drones, because they're flying, but it'll trick them. Those little things that I'm trying to kind of inject into the mod, little moments like that. You're like, oh, that makes sense, best Saku. And you can also use the Spiker. The drones don't have very much health, so the Spiker kills them very quickly. Probably quicker than you'd expect, because the Spiker it fires slower in this mod than the regular Spiker, but it's way more powerful. It's quite a strong gun. Giant spikes impaling you at long range. Hello, group. That was spicy. Should be paying attention to my motion tracker, but I mean, that's what you get when you don't. This is kind of fun. There's a sniper rifle down here that you can grab. Lots of assault rifle stuff, lots of frag grenades. Again, I do want to kind of encourage the player to use the tools that were originally on the map in kind of new ways. Wow, that's a lot of enemies. Now I can actually utilize these frag grenades. Or the sniper rifle, of course, that you just got. Either way. Battle rifle. We've saved all of our sniper ammo. Now we have a decent amount of tools to kind of conquer the final section, which should be difficult. The last part of a level in general should have some kind of challenge to it. Or at the very least, maybe not the last part should always be challenging, but, you know, as you get closer to the final section or whatever of the level, it should have some kind of challenge to it. There we go.
See how they bait their trap? I will help you spring it.
Alright. Brute shot's a lot scarier with that increased effective range. So you do need to kind of be aware of that. I did make its firing sound and a lot of the sound effects associated with it. Just like how I mess with the flyby sounds and the firing sounds from Spiker, I have made the ones for the brute shot a bit more prominent. So it's definitely very noticeable when an enemy uses that, which is good. Could have knocked out a shield. That's pretty good. He's popped invincibility. The ones that we really care about are the carbine ones and the brute shot ones. His shields are out. We don't need to waste a sniper round on that. We can just kill him later. Shields won't come back. There we go. Yeah, you're still alive over there. Yeah, you can pick off him. Really should be using the battle rifles to score the final headshots on these guys, though, because it just conserves your ammo a lot better. Because you can always find more battle rifle or carbine. It's a little bit harder to find more sniper ammo. One sniper round left. We can use it to maybe de-shield that final captain. Nope, not quite. Using the bubble shield. Let's use it to kill him. That's fine. Can't really crack that shield from this angle easily. It's pretty annoying, but that's okay. We're looking at the Arbiter and not at us. That's a chieftain. He's going after the RB, which means he's not going after us, which is nice. There we go. Yeah, jackals are a little bit frustrating, I think, in this mod, and I think that's good. Where their angles for their shields are a little bit annoying. But I think that's good. They should be annoying. That's kind of the whole idea. They don't have much else going for them. They die instantly if they're headshot. They don't have energy shields that are completely around their body or anything, so... Other than really good eyesight, they don't really have too much going for them. I'll probably make it a little bit harder to topple jackals the higher rank they are, just like I did in Prometheus. Haven't quite messed with that yet. I don't know. Jackals should have something more going for them. This section used to be pretty funny before the enemies could engage you at this range, because you could kind of look down and just snipe them left and right, and they couldn't do anything about it. And now it's like, oh my god. Now you just look out there and... Woo! What is kind of cute is, I did make it so brutes don't really care that much about friendly fire, so you will often, very often, see them firing wildly to kill, to try to kill you, but they often will just get their grunts killed, which I think is funny. It's very funny to me. Alright. Got a regenerator. I'll take a waste ammo on him when we're that close. Kind of whittle down their grunts at longer range here. So gotta be real careful about the brute shot, guys. They're so quite scary. But we can make smart decisions like that. Wait for them to come to us. Example 2 is that grunts will often not kill you by just shooting wildly like that at long range, but what they will do is they'll often de-scope you, and I like grunts being in that range for an enemy, right? Where it's like, okay, what I really wanted to kill was this jackal in the back, right? Oh, or some jackal sniper, right? Or a brute. And I'm trying to focus on that enemy, but the grunts in front of them are constantly de-scoping me and forcing me to confront them first, which to me is probably where the grunt should be in this sandbox, and I think extending out the engagement radius really helps solidify that, because when the engagement radius is like super small the engagement range, I should say, is super small in Halo, I don't feel as though that scenario happens that often, because you can kind of just walk right up to enemies, and they don't do anything until you're on top of them. And I just find it a little bit more engaging when, like, how long has this fight been happening? Like, I like fights that last this long in general, and in games where you're just thinking this... You're, like, expending this much energy on just taking out, like, this single group of enemy Covenant forces. Shimmy is fun. And you're thinking the whole way. Flare is scary because I don't know where that's coming from. Yeah, and again, the grunts often won't kill you like that, but they'll harass you and they'll do damage, descope you. Still some jackals on this side. I want to be careful about throwing grenades because, and this is something that I don't really plan on changing, but if you throw grenades too close to like the back area here, you will just straight up kill the ODSTs. Which is very dumb, but I mean, Halo. I think there was another beam rifle up there, right? Unless it despawned. Alright, we'll toss the other one down.
This isn't as fun as it looks.
Yeah, see, the ODSTs just died from the explosion, which sucks. I did change some of the ODSTs at least, but you know. That's okay. We'll get through this with just these guys, that's okay.
Kilo 2-3, what's your ETA?
I do like Johnson getting a Needler here, as a reference, obviously, to CE. He's picking up the Needler, but, I mean, it just fits Johnson's character more to have, like, a carbine or a beam rifle, especially, would definitely fit his character more, you know? Because he always kind of tends to have longer range weaponry. He's very good with it, you know? Halo 2, there was, like, a significant gameplay element to you go run in, Arbiter, while I snipe this guy. Throw this regenerator and hope for the best, because these guys are coming right around the corner. I need to encourage more of this flanking behavior. I like it when they do that. They don't do it enough. But I'll find ways to improve things as I go. And this I really like too, of just the number of enemies the Phantom is dropping off is just too much for you to fight. And it makes this scene a lot cooler as air support comes in and just demolishes them. To me, that makes it more impactful. When you're like, oh my god, so many brute shots, and then they're dead. I like that a lot. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just trying to push up the elements that I already liked in Halo 3. But with my standard edits, you move faster, strafe faster, or stronger. Way more enemies, especially grunts and jackals, but really more especially grunts. I kind of like the route I'm trying to go with the jackals with this, where the jackals are a little bit more... They're less crazy numerous all the time, and more just individually each jackal is a bit more threatening, as opposed to the grunts, where grunts are just super numerous. You know, edits so far. Hope you liked it.